Hello, and welcome to the Defined Performance Defined Engagement Bookcast. I'm Doug J. Fine. Today we'll be speaking to Devin Halliday. He's the author of Belonging Factor: How Great Brands and Great Leaders Inspire Loyalty, Build Community, and Grow Profits. We'll be talking about the introduction today with Devin. Devin Halliday, we're so glad to have you. Thanks for coming. Hello, everybody. My name is Doug Fine, and I am in Augusta, Georgia, and I have a small consultancy in Augusta called D.FINED Performance Solutions. We work on employee engagement, leadership development, training for staff and leaders. Today, I have with me Devin Halliday, who is the author of this book, Belonging Factor: How Great Brands and Great Leaders Inspire Loyalty, Build Community, and Grow Profits. So Devin, thank you for joining me today. We're going to take a little journey with your book and discuss it, chapter by chapter as we go. And I'm really happy that you've agreed to do this with me. And I hope that people will, think about buying this book after they hear kind of what's in it. So I've been enjoying it so far. There's a lot that resonates with me, and I'm sure organizational leaders and HR people and development people, leadership development people can gain a lot from this book. It's Belonging Factor by Devin Halliday. Devin, you doing okay today?
Doing outstanding. Doug, I got to tell you, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to just discuss a little bit more about the book, maybe even give some of the stuff that's not in the book, some of the kind of the things behind the things.
Yes.
That's always my favorite part when I get a chance to learn from others. Is what's the story behind the story, and how did we arrive at some of those conclusions? So this opportunity to have this this discussion is incredible, and again, I geek out on that part of it. So I hope everybody watching gets to geek out a little bit too.
All right, geek out. So Devin, let's jump into the introduction here in this segment. Introduction to Belonging Factor. You mentioned very, very early on that you found your why. You have a why, and that's sort of about your life, but it's also about how you do work and things like that. Do you want to talk a little bit about what your why is, and maybe like why did you write this book?
Sure. So Belonging Factor came about as kind of an evolution. The book did, and the process and the teachings and the practice that goes along with the book, as kind of an evolution from really finding a clear understanding of what my why is. And yeah, I think like many people who've read Simon Sinek or done workshops or just done some exploring on their own to understand really purpose, right? That's it.
Yes.
It's almost that purpose-driven life, right? Kind of on that, finding that reason that really pushes you forward to whatever it is, not what you're doing, but why you're doing what you're doing.
Gotcha.
So for me, on the surface level, it really boils down to my family, right? That's on the surface level. Ensuring that I have the ability to teach and inspire my children to be, people who can present themselves in society in a way that helps the greater good of society, be loving and respectful and patient, not all those things, to kind of leave that next generation better than this place was when my generation came around, right?
Fair enough.
But that's high level. Personally, what it really boils down to for me is I've found a real sense of purpose in unlocking and developing the potential in others so that they can achieve more. So not just my family, but the greater community and those around me. So when I have that opportunity and when I work to create those opportunities, that really fundamentally pushes my purpose forward. And I would say that is ultimately kind of the why.
Okay, your why is your family, and your why is others, and bringing out the potential in others.
Absolutely.
In any sphere of what they're doing in their life. You're an inspiration. You want to be an inspiration to people?
Or at least a conduit to connecting folks to something that maybe they didn't realize in themselves was possible. Whether I inspired it or I just helped them find something they already had.
Cool. Hey, Devin, in the introduction, you talk about people that tattoo brands that they love on their body for perpetuity, in perpetuity. They don't go away. So what Why would people do that?
Yeah, so this is interesting, right? A book about essentially kind of business and people, talking about, right in the intro, hitting you right smack with tattooing Harley Davidson or Chevy or Ford or logos onto your body, but it serves a purpose. So why is it that people do place these tattoos and emblazon these logos on their body forever?
Yeah.
What is it that creates that interest for a person to do it? So in Harley Davidson, when you talk to people who are in the motorcycle, specifically the Harley culture, it's about being part of something. It's about finding that place you belong. I belong in this culture of because Harley's done a great job at marketing, right? Not just about their motorcycle, but about the lifestyle that their brand towards. And so that's what it is. It's recognizing and saying, I'm part of this lifestyle. There are people with Harley tattoos who've never owned a Harley before, but they resonate with that idea of that lifestyle. Same thing with Chevy, right? You see Chevy football teams. I mean, that's sports is another really big example that I didn't use in the book, but I think is a similar thing, right? You have all these folks who have their favorite sports team tattooed on their body because there's an identity with that group that they really want to or feel like they belong in. It's a place they feel safe. It's a place they feel proud. It's a place they feel they have a voice and energized. And so I don't think any brand sets out to say, hey, we're going to create such an environment and such a community and such a sense of belonging that people are going to tattoo themselves. But that's actually an indicator of that community, of that loyalty, of that sense of belonging within a customer base that you've built. And the best companies, by the way, who ultimately do create that type of environment, that, like I said, they didn't necessarily set out to create a tattoo my logo culture. What they set out to do was create an amazing place for people to work where people can thrive, who then help elevate the business because everybody who interacts with that community is interacting with some employee somewhere along the line.
Yes.
And so it's actually a two-part thing. You can't have the external amazing sense of belonging without there being a sense of that in the internal part of the company as well. And the book does address both.
Wow, cool. How about this before we're going to close in just a minute, but I want you to, maybe you already kind of addressed it, but you say belonging is an untapped business opportunity. It's not just a basic human need, but it's an untapped business opportunity. Can you talk a little bit about belonging within an organization? And that's an untapped of the people. That's an untapped business opportunity for organizations and the people.
Absolutely. So let me first use the rough definition of belonging that I offer in the book, and that with employees or internally. And that's a place where people feel safe, that they can contribute, that they are included, that they have a voice, that it matters, and that they are committed to the principles and values of the organization. They're not just compliant with the policies and practices. So that's a big difference. It's a commitment versus compliance. So we go into these 5 key elements in the book that create that sense of belonging that leaders can and should do to ensure that they're fostering that sense of belonging. And I'm sure we'll explore that when we get to chapter 5 of our review here.
You bet.
But here's why I say it's an untapped resource for businesses to compete at a higher level. When you have employees who are so aligned with your values as an organization that the behaviors of each department, each person, each piece of the organization is aligned with those values, your business outcomes are immeasurable. Well, I was about to say immeasurably. They are very well measured to be very, very aggressively different than those in the same market space, than those in the same competitive landscape who do not foster that sense of inclusion, that sense of people having a voice and participating. And this is not about eliminating a hierarchical leadership structure, although it might be. It's also not. It's also not about not having policies and procedures for everything. And it's also not about having couches and chefs and video games and ping pong tables.
Foosball, man.
Foosball, sure. That's not what it is to create this sense of belonging. Do those things have a potential net positive effect? They can, but those aren't people-centric or people-related. And so it doesn't touch on anybody else's sense of purpose, their sense of why, or that inner desire to want to belong to a group that they identify with and trust. So as we continue to explore this, we'll get more into exactly what those elements are that leaders can do and organizations can do so employees can be that competitive advantage.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to going on the road again with you next time, Devin. We're going to talk about chapter 1. And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is belonging, and it's belonging factor, and it's how great brands and great leaders inspire loyalty, build community, and grow profits. Devin, thank you very much. We'll see you for chapter 1 in a bit, okay?
Doug.
Bye-bye. Devin, thank you very much for joining me again today. Next week, we'll be talking about chapter 1 of Belonging Factor, how I came to believe in belonging. If you want to see more bookcasts, go ahead. Go to this address. And again, thank you all for joining me. See you next time.